Man killed by pit bulls. This is a report from July 20th, 2023. In Bend, Oregon, on Wednesday, the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office confirmed that Joseph Taylor Keeton, 56 years old, of Bend, sustained serious injuries in a dog attack and died. At about 1:15 a.m., deputies were dispatched to an unknown problem in a Juniper Ridge area known as Dirt World. Upon arrival, deputies discovered Keeton, who had lost a substantial amount of blood, had been attacked by animals. Deputies applied a tourniquet and began life-saving measures. Bend Fire arrived at the scene and transported Keeton to St. Charles Medical Center in Bend, where he later died. The initial investigation determined that up to 3 pit bull-mastiff mixes belonging to Jessica Rae Charity, 38 years old, of Bend, inflicted the deadly attack. Charity assisted officers in crating the offending dogs and is cooperating with the investigation. Deschutes County Sheriff's Office detectives also responded to the scene to assist with the investigation. Deschutes County Sheriff's Office in Oregon. Male succumbs to injuries as a result of dog attack in transient camp. Release date was July 19, 2023. The victim was Joseph Taylor Keeton, 56 years old, male, of Bend. Dog owner, Jessica Rae Charity, 38 years old, female, of Bend. On July 19, 2023, at approximately 1:15 a.m., deputies from the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to an unknown problem in the area commonly referred to as Dirt World. Upon arrival, deputies discovered a male subject that appeared to have been attacked by an animal or animals. The male, later identified as Joseph Taylor Keeton, had lost a substantial amount of blood. Deputies applied a tourniquet and began life-saving measures employing CPR and applying an AED. Bend Fire paramedics arrived and transported Keeton to St. Charles, Bend. During the course of the initial investigation, it was determined that up to 3 pit bull mastiff mixed dogs may have been responsible for the life-threatening injuries sustained by Keeton. The owner of the 3 dogs, Jessica Rae Charity, assisted in crating the offending dogs and cooperating with the investigation. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office detectives responded to the scene to assist with the investigation. Investigators were notified Keeton succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Photographs on Charity's Facebook page show 2 large pit bull mixes, one seen strengthening its jaws by hanging from a tree in Dirt World in 2020. The female pit bull had a litter of puppies in December 2020. The male pit bull is seen in a video in March 2021, which depicts the dog inside of a car, ready to attack a statue of a deer as Charity drives through the Sugarloaf Mount Motel parking lot of Highway 97 in Bend. Charity states on the video, "What a statue will do to my dog." Authorities said Charity could face a charge of maintaining a dangerous dog. That's statute 609.098, a charge we have not previously seen used in Oregon. If a dog kills a person under the statute, it is a Class C felony. A dangerous dog means without provocation and in an aggressive manner inflicts serious physical injury on a person or kills a person and or the keeper of a dog with criminal negligence, fails to prevent the dog from engaging in an act described in Section 609.098, maintaining a dangerous dog. 1. As it is used in this section, dangerous dog means a dog that, without provocation and in an aggressive manner, inflicts serious physical injury, as defined in ORS 161.015, on a person or kills a person. B. Acts as a potentially dangerous dog, as defined in ORS 609.035, after having previously committed an act as a potentially dangerous dog that resulted in the keepers being found to have violated ORS 609.095. Or C. Is used as a weapon in the commission of a crime. Or 2. A person commits the crime of maintaining a dangerous dog if the person is a keeper of a dog and the person with criminal negligence fails to prevent the dog from engaging in an act described in subsection 1 of this section. 3. Maintaining a dangerous dog is punishable as described in ORS 609.990. Note 609.098 was enacted into law by the legislative Assembly, but was not added to or made as a part of ORS Chapter 609 or any series therein by legislative action. See preface of Oregon Revised Statutes for further explanation. The Bend Bulletin obtained more information from the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office spokesman Sergeant Jason Wall. Keeton had been mauled for a prolonged period of time, Wall said. This isn't the case for 5 bites or 10 bites, Wall said. It is bad. The dogs were not restrained in any way, shape, or form. Wall said, it is horrible. I've been here over 16 years and I cannot recall a dog attack that resulted in the death of an individual, Wall told the Bulletin on Wednesday. The Bulletin also discusses potential liability the county could face if it creates an authorized camping site in the Juniper Ridge area, or if it continues the status quo. Both pose some level of risk and liability, the Deschutes County Legal Counsel Dave Doyle said. In California, Sonoma County and Caltrans were recently ordered to pay nearly $1 million in damages to a woman who was attacked by a serial pit bull biter on Caltrans property near a homeless encampment in 2019. While a number of fatal dog maulings victims have been people experiencing homelessness, it is less common when these attacks occur within an encampment area. Last year, a homeless man was killed by a dog near an encampment in South Austin. In 2019, Lazaro Marcedo was killed by multiple pit bulls in a riverbed homeless community in Madera, California. The dog's owner, Healthier Anglin, also a transient, was later charged with manslaughter in connection to his death. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here for my commentary. We begin to see a trend with these dog attacks as we read and watch and see more and more of these cases, these sad, disturbing, and outright infuriating attacks that should not be happening. I mean, this is just ridiculous that human beings, fully grown human beings, being hunted down and mauled and dismembered and attacked bite by bite by a predator like a dog. This seems to be like 10,000 BC, where wild animals are hunting people down like prey. This is basically a retreating back to 10,000 BC. This is just ridiculous and just ludicrous at the same time that this is going on today, where we breed, because that's what's happened. We have bred these animals to be this aggressive. Wolves out in the wild get away from and don't even bother with humans. Wolves being the animal that dogs descend from, were bred from, have been artificially evolved from. And again, we have created monsters. These pit bulls, pit bull mixes, even the other breeds like the police German Shepherds are bred, selected, handpicked to be highly aggressive. And not only aggressive, to have the biological features to basically be able to kill an adult person very easily. And that is what we have created. And we are again seeing the results of this creation, this series of decisions, by being hunted down by these very animals that we created. And the trend that we're beginning to notice and see and follow is that these dogs often attack in packs, in groups. Multiple dogs, when they get together, whether they have been together all along, being a pack in a household or in a certain area, they perhaps were brought together, grew up together by an owner, a single owner, or a owner of the pack, or whether they escape and get together in a pack as they escape. A dog may escape and encounter other dogs that may have escaped as well, or even helps other dogs escape, or that dog meets dogs that were stray already, or even wild dogs. There are wild dogs out there, and they form a pack. When packs are formed, all of a sudden that herd mentality or pack mentality kicks in, and they go on a hunt. And unfortunately, when they see smaller children when they see weaker individuals such as older people, they go for them first and foremost. And it appears to be the case here in this incident that happened in July 19th, 2023, and the victim was Joseph Keeton. And the other trend that we see is that a lot of these attacks, perhaps most, are perpetrated by pit bulls or pit bull mixes. In this case, pit bull-mastiff mixes, all very aggressive, dangerous dogs. And let me remind you that pit bulls were bred for fighting each other, fighting other animals, and perhaps killing each other and killing other animals. And they were bred specifically for jaw strength and aggressiveness. And also, they happen to have very strong necks, bodies, and are very energetic. They run very fast. So they are very bred for fighting. And that is pretty much undeniable. The other trend that we see is that the owners are often not present when the dogs attack. This is not surprising. The owners are about the only person in most cases, or many cases, that could actually control these dogs. These dogs a lot of times do respect the owner, do protect the owner, and do listen to the owner. If the owner happens to be away or the dogs happen to get away from the owner, these dogs are acting on their own. They have zero control. They have zero restrictions. So they act on their own. And a lot of times this is what's going on. These dogs escape. These dogs are left alone by the owners. Of course, the owners, as I've said before, are people just like you and me. They are not going to take care of these dogs 100% of the time the correct way, the way that is recommended. They're not going to be supervising and caring for these dogs 100% of the time. Obviously, they need to leave the house, eventually go to work, go do groceries, do whatever outside of the house. And they often leave these dogs unprotected and ill-corralled, ill-prepared. The house is sometimes not conditioned, not built to restrain such strong and aggressive and determined animal. Another trend that I'm beginning to see is that these owners are often people of lower income, people of lower means, people of modest means, modest capabilities. Nothing against that, nothing wrong with that, but that often means that they have very limited resources, either with time, with being able to raise those animals correctly, being able to restrain those animals correctly. It does take money, time, effort, often lacking in people of low income, to correctly corral and keep these animals away from people, from other people. And again, this was in a transient or homeless encampment, meaning that there's not going to be adequate infrastructure or adequate building or adequate structures there to keep those dogs corralled and safe, or keep people safe from these animals. These dogs are going to be probably tied to a damn pole, tied to a hook on the ground. If even that, they may even be loose. They may even be just sitting around most of the time and free to do whatever the hell they want, especially when the owners are not present. And those are the trends that we are beginning to see. We have to do our best to pressure our leaders, political leaders, city, community, and municipality leaders to restrict the ownership of these animals. That is among the most potent ways to basically make a change or improve the situation. And also enforcement is very, very needed. Enforcement is the very thing, the only thing that's going to allow laws and regulations to work. You cannot have a law and then just ignore and forget about and just turn a blind eye to all of these problems. People walking up with aggressive dogs out of a leash. Police and people often ignore it, often think it's real cute, often think it's so adorable, and just leave the person alone. They allow these people to walk up with these aggressive dogs to Walmart, to Home Depot, and they don't challenge these people. A lot of dogs I've seen wearing some random and non-service dog jackets or harnesses and people just leave them alone. Oh yeah, that must be a service dog. Let them walk into a Kohl's, into a JC Penney, into a Sears, or any other store. No problem. Just let them be. What harm can they cause? They'll just come and go. Just leave it alone. We don't want to disturb that person or offend, bother that person, or make them upset. And that's how we turn a blind eye to situations that could turn even deadly. Same thing when we see a person with a dog out of a leash, unleashed dog in the park, in the streets, in a homeless encampment. We think it's so adorable and cute, and we just leave it alone. We even pet the dog, ask about it, because people have this thing in their mind that all dogs are friendly, or as they think, man's best friend. What harm can they do? The owner's right there. Yes, but you are very much encouraging people breaking the law, or people having dogs unsecured, unsafe, uncontrolled. You are very much encouraging that, and people are just going to take that and run with it. They're going to keep doing it, keep expanding on it. They're going to take the next step, which is just leave the dogs unleashed when they're not there. They're going to think everything's all right and everybody accepts you and your dog, you being irresponsible with it. So if you don't get checked, if you don't get told, if you don't get complained to, of course, you're going to keep doing what you do, which is leaving your dog unsecured and unrestrained. And you're going to even expand on that. And you're going to leave it alone. You're going to go away and not even worry about securing those dogs, because you've never been told anything about your dog while you're walking in the street without it being on a leash, walking into a store with a fake ass harness to make people think that is a service dog when it is not, and with a vest. Those dogs, often people buy little vests that look like service dog vests, but in fact they're not. Many times people lie in their applications for service dogs, and they have an actual permit and a vest for a service dog that shouldn't be a service dog. And that's how these people get away with stuff until the day that their dog actually harms someone, or more than one person at times, as I've seen it before, as I've investigated and read about before. Multiple persons could be victims to dog attacks, especially younger kids. So this is where we're at. When you see a person with a dog out of a leash, especially a bigger dog, challenge that person. Don't worry about upsetting that person. Don't worry about making that person uncomfortable or mad or sad or whatever. Don't worry about that person's feeling. You have to worry about the safety of the community, others, yourself, that person. You're protecting that person because that person is liable, depending on the state where you are, where that person is. So you're, in fact, protecting everyone when you challenge someone that is obviously being irresponsible, breaking the law, breaking a regulation by having a dog out of a leash, by having a big and aggressive dog roaming around unsecured. It is your and everyone's responsibility to challenge a person that has a dog roaming around, especially a large and aggressive dog, and check them. Check them and see if that dog is really a service dog. Check them and see if that dog is on a leash. If it is not, tell them that dog should be on a leash for the safety of yourself and others, especially smaller kids, especially older people. Some people need to be checked and educated and basically awakened, enlightened. They need to be trained and told about the problems that these dogs could cause, about the damage they could actually cause. They should be reminded about the recent cases that have occurred of dog attacks. Even owners get mauled by their own dogs at times. So on the 28th of July of 2023, there was a fundraiser for burial. So as it is reported here on dogsbite.org, on Friday, KTVZ reported that family members of Joseph Taylor Keeton started a GoFundMe to help pay expenses for his funeral arrangements. We will be using the funds to bury him along with the ashes of his mother in a very simple pine casket where he can be given back to Mother Earth. The fund organizer states, Keeton was mauled to death by up to 3 pit bull mixes at a homeless encampment last week on the outskirts of Bend. So far, the fundraiser raised just over $10,000. In the earlier hours of July 19, 2023, our father was violently killed in a dog attack in a homeless encampment in Bend, Oregon. The savage nature of his death highlights the vulnerabilities of that homeless people face, the inevitable fate of those that society has discarded as hopeless and incurable. What we fail to consider beyond our myopic lens is that these human beings are people with stories, families, and depth. Here is Joseph Keeton's story. The fund proceeds to tell Keeton's story, including that he was a deeply creative artist, a cinephile, and a spiritual man. Joe was charismatic, loved animals. The irony is not lost on us, and he could be incredibly empathetic and compassionate, states the fund. He was also a fox, very good looking, and almost pursued a modeling career. After struggling with drug abuse at an early age, he began attending church where he met his future wife. They had 3 girls together. In subsequent years, he injured his back and was prescribed OxyContin. He naturally became addicted, and within a year or 2, he had abandoned his family in search of the relief that only opiates could provide, states the fund. That led to his methamphetamine use. He became a bottomless pit of pain for his father and mother, the latter of whom spent countless dollars on rehab centers that Joe weaved in and out of, and which believe sent her to an early grave. Despite his circumstances, Keeton was gracious, generous, and enthusiastic. He also held profound conversations and changed the minds of many people about homelessness, states the fund. He gave people the clothes off his back and shared what little food he had with others who were also hungry. His daughters describe him as a problematic teenager, then a devoted father and a husband and churchgoer, then a grad student making films, and finally a wanderer. They said the vicious dog attack is unforgivable, that he suffered gravely, and that he was failed by societal systems. The fact that our father met his end by the vicious attack of 3 pit bulls is unforgivable. He was mauled for a prolonged time. He suffered greatly. He was failed by so many systems. Please take a moment to educate yourselves on the truth about pit bull breeding and ownership, mental illness, and drug addiction, as most homeless people are. Later today, KTVZ will speak with his children and provide an update on his death investigation. We hope the justice system will not fail Keeton too. However, as followers of Dog's Bite know, only 20% of fatal dog maulings result in criminal charges. In 2021, after a Cane Corso breeder's dog killed 2 homeless people 3.5 months apart, Cook County Sheriff's officials abandoned the case. The dog's owner, Charles Owensby, had previously ordered one of his dogs to attack a man too. And we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching or listening. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.